gonna make a joke out of life if life makes a joke out of you.
Is this recording? Can you hear me, Mother? Mother, can you hear me? Right, I'm going to do a video on truck driving, lorry driving, mainly in the UK, because I know there's a lot of people, because there's a shortage, and I've seen how much money people can earn on the wagons, and I thought I'd give you the benefit of my experience. I went to transport at 16 in J. Brevitt's Transport in Willenhall, and I'm 60 now, so that gives me 44 years, Class 1 HGV. If you're American, that's the licence for a semi, I think you call it over there, the ones that sort of bend. Anyway, I was going to sort of give you making up these YouTube videos because they're just not really going anywhere. You know, I did these sort of the car camping ones, but I mentioned that in the last video about the Bell's palsy, which is why I'm talking funny. And I got a few complimentary remarks and people saying, no, carry on, we like your stories. So I'm going to tell you a story or two about truck driving in the UK. And this one's going to be about the cold, because it isn't like it is now. We don't have the severe winters. I'm thinking of the time, it was the worst winter on record in the UK. And we used to drive these Bedford TKs, which have got a really small cab, and I'm 6'2", and I couldn't get across the seats. You know, you'd have the gear stick in your back. So I used to have to sleep in the back of the lorry on the wooden floor. And the one night it dropped to at least -22, and I'm sort of just lying on the wooden boards, wrapped in a sort of quilt, got all my clothes on, and it was cold. I mean, I woke up in the morning and I sort of got myself out of the bed and jumped in the cab, started the engine up and started driving straight away. And my teeth were still chattering half an hour later. I'll tell you how cold it was. The flame on my lighter froze. That's seriously cold. And you can check the records. The record for the UK is -27. That's that night. But the funny story I want to tell you is, it was the same year. We used to stop by Blackwall Tunnel in London, and you used to sort of go just into the south side and double back, and there was a bit of a motel there where a lot of the Brevitt drivers used to stop. And it was all right place. A couple of them used to actually have the beds there, but most of them that places in London, you wouldn't put your dog in to sleep there. But so there was a group of us. I think there was probably about 10 Brevitt drivers and others, and we all parked up there, and we'll go into the cafe, which turns into a bar on the night, and we got, you know, fairly drunk. It helps you sleep. Went back to the cabs, slept the night, got up in the morning. Luckily the job was a good job, so there was no rush. Went in before we defrosted the wagons, and we had the full breakfast, full English. And one of the drivers says, Trevor's not coming. Now Trevor Skit was his name. Little guy. They used to call him the jockey. I think he was about 5'4", 5'5". But this, in a way, was an advantage, because these little Bedford TKs had got a parcel shelf behind the two seats. It was only, you know, about that wide, but with a bit of foam on, and because of his height, he got a proper bed to sleep on. And we thought nothing of it. We thought he must just want to lie in. So anyway, we had our breakfast, we came out to the trucks, and in those days, it was before they put an additive into the diesel, and it used to get really sort of oily, and you couldn't start the wagons. Now, health and safety, they cry if they've seen what we used to do. We used to light fires under the diesel tanks of the lorries. Get it going, mainly embers, like, you know, get a fire roaring, then you'd shove the embers and start the wagons up and leave them ticking over to defrost. while we sort of, you know, tried to defrost the diesel. So we're all doing that, and because you had to mucking together, you know, so we're moving this fire around, and then somebody says, "Did you hear something?" And somebody said, "What?" And we were doing Trevor's lorry, and all we heard was this little squeaky voice going, "Help! Help! Help! I'm stuck." So we sort of managed to get him to sort of reach down and open the passenger door, and we got in. And this was the 70s or early 80s, and he'd got quite long hair. And because he was sleeping on this parcel shelf at the back, there was a glass window behind him, and the condensation through the night had made about 1/2 inch thick of ice on the inside of the window, and his hair had frozen into this. So he'd woke up in the morning when he heard us all going into the cafe and found out he couldn't move his head at all. He was completely stuck to this thing. So we'd waited an hour while we had breakfast for us to come back, completely stuck in there. So I can't remember how we defrosted him, but it just seemed funny, this poor bloke like frozen in the back of behind the seats in his lorry. So that's the sort of thing that used to happen. It was a tough life. So I'll probably do a few more if you want to subscribe to the channel. I don't know how interested I'll be, to be honest, but a lot of people are thinking of getting into truck driving, and it's not nearly as romantic as people make out. It's been a tough life, cost you a marriage, guarantee that, and yeah, the money's there, or it is now, it don't used to be, but it's hard work, and it ain't a great life. People sort of, you see it in films, don't you, sort of, but realistically, you're just going to sit there your whole life watching these white lines go under your cab hour after hour after hour. 2 million miles of it I've done. So if you got to do it, do it. But if you can find something better, I'd recommend that. So I might be back in a future video, maybe, or I might just bother because I've took up playing guitar. So thanks for watching. So it's Big Bob. Peace, man.